Beneath California's golden skies and whispering palm trees, the unthinkable is happening. The state that once defined the American dream is now flashing red warning lights of a 65% housing crash in 2025. Families, retirees, even investors who believed in endless appreciation may soon be staring at a financial nightmare. This isn't just a slowdown, this is a reckoning. And today, we're exposing the 10 California cities most at risk, so you know where not to buy and where opportunity may still exist. To understand California's looming collapse, we have to rewind to 2008. During the Great Recession, this state was one of the hardest hit. In some cities, home values fell by more than half. Entire neighborhoods in the Inland Empire sat empty, lawns overgrown, for sale signs fading in the sun. Families simply walked away from mortgages they could no longer pay, and the California dream turned into a financial nightmare. Fast forward to 2025, and the warning signs feel hauntingly familiar, only this time the numbers are even bigger. Today, the median home in California costs close to $800,000, more than double the national average. Mortgage rates remain stuck near 7%. Choking affordability and keeping buyers on the sidelines. And while costs soar, wages have barely moved. The median household income hovers around $91,000, but in many cities, the annual cost of owning a home, when you add up mortgage payments, taxes, and insurance, pushes well past $130,000. It's a simple equation, and it doesn't add up. The gap between income and housing cost is wider than ever. Buyers are priced out. Sellers, desperate to attract interest, are cutting asking prices. And across the state, inventory is swelling, unsold homes piling up by the week. It all raises a sobering question. If these pressures continue, which California cities will crack first? Where is the danger greatest? That's what we're about to uncover.
10. Porter Ranch, the cracks in luxury. Nestled in the San Fernando Valley, Porter Ranch was built as an upscale suburban dream. Gated communities, hillside estates, and that coveted Los Angeles zip code. For years, it seemed untouchable. By 2022, the median home price had soared beyond $1.1 million, a symbol of security and status. But in 2025, the shine is fading. Values are already slipping, down 3 to 5% year over year. That may sound small, but on million-dollar homes, it means a $33,000 to $55,000 loss almost overnight. For the families who stretch their budgets to buy, the pain runs deeper. Monthly payments now top $7,300 before taxes, insurance, or HOA dues even enter the equation. The market is seizing up. Houses that once sold in less than a month now sit for 6 weeks or longer. Sellers slash prices by $100,000 just to draw attention. The drivers of decline are clear. Mortgage rates that choke affordability, fire zone insurance premiums climbing into the thousands, and property taxes that add another heavy burden year after year. On the surface, Porter Ranch still looks immaculate. Quiet streets, manicured lawns, and million-dollar views. But beneath that polish, the cracks are spreading, and the dream that defined this community is starting to unravel.
9. Palos Verdes, Paradise on the Edge. Perched on dramatic ocean cliffs, Palos Verdes has long been the definition of coastal prestige. This is where sweeping views meet multi-million-dollar estates, and where the California dream was once thought to be untouchable. At a median price of $2.5 million, these homes symbolize wealth and exclusivity. But prestige carries a crushing bill. At today's mortgage rates, monthly payments soar past $16,000. Add nearly $28,000 a year in property taxes and specialized insurance, up to $10,000 annually for landslide, earthquake, and wildfire risk, and the numbers quickly spiral out of reach.
Just a few years ago, these properties vanished within weeks. Now, in 2025, they linger on the market for months. Price cuts of six figures are no longer rare but expected. The buyer pool for $2 million homes is evaporating. Many sellers, especially those locked into adjustable rate mortgages, are rushing to offload before the ground shifts further beneath them. Palos Verdes remains breathtaking, a place where the Pacific stretches endlessly into the horizon, but its luxury bubble now teeters on the edge of a cliff, and beneath the beauty, the foundation looks more fragile than ever.
8. San Fernando Valley, suburbia under pressure. The San Fernando Valley has always been the symbol of suburban California life. Larger homes, backyard barbecues, and neighborhoods built for families chasing stability. But behind the sunlit streets, the numbers now tell a darker story. The median home price has climbed to nearly $950,000. For a family putting 20% down, that translates to mortgage payments of around $6,300 a month. When you add property taxes and insurance, the annual cost of ownership balloons past $90,000. That figure is nearly identical to the Valley's median household income, about $80,000 to $90,000. In other words, the cost of owning a home now swallows an entire paycheck, leaving nothing left for the basics of living. Signs of strain are everywhere. Inventory is rising fast. Homes that once sold quickly now sit longer, with price cuts ranging from $50,000 to $150,000. Families who stretched to buy during the frenzy of 2020 and 2021 are watching their hard-won equity slip away month by month. Unless mortgage rates fall dramatically or household incomes rise in ways few expect, the Valley could be staring down its sharpest correction in decades. What was once the ultimate middle-class dream is beginning to look like a financial trap.
7. Irvine, the bubble of master-planned perfection. Irvine, California, master-planned perfection. Clean streets, gleaming schools, and a steady pipeline of tech jobs. For years, it was marketed as bulletproof, a city immune to the housing cycles that rattled the rest of the state. But in 2025, even Irvine is showing cracks. The median home price now hovers around $1.5 million. For a typical family, the annual cost to own approaches $130,000. That's a price-to-income ratio above 12 to 1, one of the most unsustainable levels in the entire country. The strain is becoming visible. Inventory has surged 35% in just 1 year. Nearly half the homes on the market have been forced into steep price cuts, often $100,000 or more. And it isn't just homeowners feeling the pinch. Investors who thought Irvine was a safe bet are bleeding cash. A two-bedroom apartment rents for about $3,400 a month, far below the mortgage costs. Landlords who bought during the frenzy are losing money every single month. On the surface, Irvine still looks like a model city. But when the fundamentals no longer add up, the facade starts to crumble. And here, in the heart of Orange County, the market is beginning to break.
6. San Clemente, the coastal bubble. San Clemente, the Spanish village by the sea. Its red-tiled roofs, rolling hillsides, and golden sunsets have long drawn dreamers to this stretch of the California coast. Surf culture thrives here, and for decades it seemed like the kind of place where values could only move in one direction, up. But beneath the beauty lies a growing financial trap. The median home price now hovers around $1.72 million. For most families, that means monthly mortgage payments of nearly $11,500 and an annual cost of ownership pushing close to $180,000. The strain is showing in the market itself. Homes that once sold in days now sit for more than 2 months. Price cuts of $100,000 to $200,000 have become routine as sellers compete for a shrinking pool of buyers. Investors who thought they could ride the wave are finding themselves underwater too. With rents averaging $4,000 to $4,500, the math simply doesn't come close to covering carrying costs. On the surface, San Clemente is still postcard perfect, but behind the palm trees and ocean breeze, it risks becoming the case study of a coastal boomtown priced so far beyond its fundamentals that even paradise begins to feel fragile.
5. Dana Point, the cracks beneath the cliffs. Dana Point is a postcard brought to life. Ocean bluffs, yacht harbors, and whales breaching just offshore. For decades, it's been marketed as one of Southern California's most idyllic coastal towns, the kind of place where people pay a premium simply to belong. But in 2025, the dream has become dangerously expensive. The median home price here sits at $1.7 million, pushing the annual cost of ownership beyond $160,000. That number alone shrinks the buyer pool to only the wealthiest households, and even many of them are beginning to think twice. The shift is visible. Homes that used to sell with ease now linger on the market for 2 months or more. Nearly half of all listings are being cut by 6 figures. Price drops of $100,000 to $250,000 are increasingly common. Owners who once relied on short-term rentals to cover costs are also exiting, flooding the market with additional supply and making it even harder to find stable footing. Dana Point remains breathtaking. The harbor is still dotted with sailboats, the bluffs still catch fire at sunset, but the community's luxury bubble is wobbling. For those who bought at the top, the dream of oceanfront prestige is colliding with the reality of rising costs and evaporating demand. This is still paradise, but it's paradise with a warning sign.
4. Riverside. History repeats itself. Riverside was once the escape hatch for families priced out of Los Angeles, a place where bigger homes and sprawling neighborhoods came at a fraction of the coastal cost. But history has a way of repeating itself. Back in 2008, Riverside was one of the hardest-hit regions during the housing crash, with entire subdivisions left empty. And in 2025, the warning signs are back. The median home price has already slipped, falling from around $575,000 to closer to $550,000 in just a year, a loss of more than $35,000 for the average homeowner. Inventory is swelling too, up more than 55% compared to last year. Builders who raced to meet pandemic-era demand are now sitting on finished homes with no buyers, and the for sale signs stretch further down quiet suburban streets. Properties that once vanished in a weekend now linger for more than 50 days. Sellers are cutting prices, but the pool of qualified buyers is shrinking fast. For many families, even at these reduced prices, mortgage payments remain out of reach with rates still stubbornly high. Riverside is no stranger to booms and busts, but this time the echoes of 2008 feel uncomfortably close. Unless demand roars back or rates suddenly fall, Riverside may once again find itself at the center of California's housing collapse. Proof that history doesn't just rhyme.
3. Santa Clarita, the family dream unravels. Santa Clarita has long been marketed as the perfect family city. Safe neighborhoods, strong schools, and a master-planned balance of parks, shopping centers, and suburban comfort. For years, it was the promise of a middle-class dream just outside Los Angeles. But in 2025, the numbers are beginning to unravel. The median home price here sits around $750,000. On paper, that's lower than coastal markets, but for local families, it still translates to mortgage payments well above $5,000 a month. Analysts now warn prices could fall by 8 to 12% this year, erasing $60,000 to $90,000 of value for the typical homeowner. Signs of stress are everywhere. Inventory is up nearly 40% compared to last year, and homes that once sold in a matter of weeks are now sitting for 2 months or more. Sellers slash asking prices just to compete, while buyers hesitate, worried that values have further to fall. Families who stretched to buy during the frenzy of 2020 and 2021 are now watching their equity vanish, forced to confront the possibility that they bought at the peak. Santa Clarita still looks like the picture of suburban prosperity. Tree-lined streets, soccer fields full on weekends, neighbors gathering at community events. But beneath that surface, the financial foundation is shifting. If rates stay high and wages remain stagnant, this family-friendly valley could soon face its sharpest correction in decades, reminding us that even the most carefully planned communities aren't immune to market reality.
2. Laguna Niguel, when prestige becomes a liability. Laguna Niguel has always carried the aura of coastal prestige. Perched on rolling hills with sweeping views of the Pacific, it was designed as a master-planned showcase of Southern California living. Families and retirees alike paid a premium for its safety, its scenery, and its exclusivity. But in 2025, the numbers behind that prestige are becoming harder to justify. The median home price now sits around $1.4 million. For most buyers, that translates into monthly mortgage payments nearing $9,300 and an annual cost of ownership that pushes past $130,000 once taxes and insurance are included. The market is struggling to keep pace. Homes linger on the market for more than 2 months. Price cuts of $100,000 to $250,000 are no longer shocking, they're expected. Out-of-state buyers who once fueled the luxury market are retreating, deterred by California's high costs and rising taxes. Even rents, once thought to be insulated, are softening, leaving investors with shrinking margins. Laguna Niguel remains beautiful, its neighborhoods still immaculate, its coastline still dazzling at sunset, but beauty doesn't pay the bills. The city is now caught between image and reality, and for many homeowners, that reality is beginning to sting. What was once the pinnacle of suburban affluence is showing signs of becoming an expensive liability.
Long Beach, ground zero for collapse. Long Beach has always been seen as California's affordable coast, a diverse city with ocean views, vibrant neighborhoods, and prices that felt like an entry point compared to Orange County or Malibu. For years, it was the compromise, close enough to Los Angeles, but with the dream of the beach still within reach. But in 2025, even Long Beach is showing cracks. Back in 2022, the median home price hovered around $720,000. Today, values are slipping fast, down 10 to 15% in just a year. For homeowners, that's a loss of $72,000 to $108,000 in equity, gone almost overnight. The market feels stalled. Inventory has surged more than 60% compared to last year, and the average home now sits unsold for 3 to 4 months. Sellers desperate to attract buyers slash $50,000 to $100,000 off their asking prices. For those who bought at the top of the market, the picture is grim. Mortgage payments for an average Long Beach home still run close to $4,800 a month before adding taxes or insurance. What makes Long Beach so telling is that it was never the extreme luxury market. It was supposed to be the safer bet, the accessible choice. If even here prices are falling this sharply, it's a warning sign for the entire state. The city remains lively, its waterfront still buzzing, its culture still vibrant, but beneath the surface, the housing math no longer works. And when affordability fails, the market follows. So where does this leave Californians?